Hey guys, welcome. We're still in Matthew chapter 13, and yesterday we were looking at the issue of the Herodians and the Pharisees that came to try and trick Jesus. They try to use flattery to make him feel good about himself, make him feel that he could tell them what they wanted him to hear. But Jesus is not impressed with that. Jesus can see right through our flattery and our words, right into the intention of our hearts. And that's exactly what took place right here. So we see here today how they came to Jesus and they said, Jesus, we want to know something. We want to know if we should pay taxes to Caesar or not. And you know the passage well. Jesus says to them, well, give me a denarius, which was a coin. And he holds it up and he says, whose face is that on the denarius? And they said, oh, that's Caesar's face. And Jesus said to them so profoundly and so wisely, he just with a smile probably said, well, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but remember to give to God what belongs to God. Now therein lies a great lesson. You know, people, we are citizens of a few places. First of all, we're citizens of this country, and this country has rules, it has regulations, it has bylaws, it has taxes that need to be paid. And you don't have to ask Jesus if you should pay your taxes. You don't have to ask him. He's already told you. He says, pay your darn taxes because they don't belong to you. They belong to the government. Whether you like it or not, pay your tax. And Jesus took it to such an extent in Matthew chapter 17, I think it is. Jesus is confronted by his disciples. They came to Jesus and they said, Jesus, we have to pay our tax. And by the way, Jesus, we have to pay yours as well. And he said, with the temple tax, which wasn't the same as the government tax, but the principle doesn't change. And Jesus said to them, yep, you guys need to go and pay the tax. He said, have you got some money? And they said, Jesus, we've got no bucks. We've got no money. Jesus said, here we are. Go down to the sea, throw your line in the water. The first fish that you catch, bring it out and look at its mouth. And I'm going to tell you, I'm thinking, that's incredible. And the disciples must have been looking and saying, really? Anyway, they did that. They went down, they threw their line in the water, they caught the fish, they took it out, and there was enough money to pay all of their temple taxes and Jesus's at the same time. So that's the simple truth of what we're saying over here. But I wonder if there's not another truth as well, where he says, give to Caesar that which is Caesar's, and give to God that which is God's. And we sometimes have to look at this and say, well, are there not times where there's this clash between the laws of the government and the laws of God? If we have to obey, we can't obey both of them sometimes. Who do we obey? And the general answer is this, that I would suggest to you is, you pay the law of the government, you do the thing that they say you need to do or have to pay, unless it goes in violation to the laws of God. You know, the laws of the government are bigger than the laws of subcommittees and trust groups, and they are the dominant rule-making body in the country, but they don't rule the universe. God rules the universe, and he sets the laws, he sets the norms, he sets the standards for his universe. And so when the laws of the government go in the face of the laws of God, you know who wins. It's a no-brainer, it's a no-competition thing. The laws of God always prevail, even over the laws of the government. You say, well, give me a biblical precedent. Here's a great one. Daniel chapter 3. There's these three young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who are told to bow down and worship a golden statue, a replica of the king. Now they know that the law has said when the trumpet blows, you guys will get on your knees and you will worship that statue. But the laws of the land were contrary to the laws of God, and for them the laws of God superseded the laws of the country. So they stood straight up and they disobeyed the laws of the country. And they were taken before the king. And the king said, guys, I like you. You nice young men. I'm going to give you another chance. And they said, King, you can give us as many chances as you like. We will never bow to your statues, because we will only ever bow the knee to our God, Jehovah. King was somewhat impressed with that, but he said to them, don't you know, I have authority over you, I have power over you to throw you into the fiery furnace? And they said, yeah, King, I guess you can do that. And that's your choice. If you want to throw us into the fiery furnace, that's the deal. We know that God can deliver us from this. But even if He doesn't, it doesn't really matter. We will never worship another God. We worship only Jehovah. And so you know the story. Took them, threw them in the fire. A fourth member joined them. Jesus himself was walking in the fire with them. But the lesson we learned, people, is we never bow the knee to anybody that thinks he supersedes the laws of God. Now, the laws of our conscience are one thing, and sometimes I'm very sympathetic toward that, because our consciences can be somewhat relatively orientated towards how I particularly feel or how I particularly think. But when our law of conscience lines up with the law of God, I'm going to tell you we're on a powerful footing to say this is where the buck stops. I hope you can make head or tail of that today. I love our country, want to support it, want to pay the taxes, want to honor Caesar, give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, but never do that at the expense of honoring God above all else. If we're going to break the law of the government and the law of the country in order to obey the law of God, if ever it comes to that, then we've got to do that knowing that we still have to pay the price. You can't obey the law of God and then not pay the price for breaking the law of the land. You obey the law of God knowing full well that there may come a time when you have to pay the price for that. But you know what, people? That's okay. You can't break the laws of the land under the law of God without knowing there will always be consequences. But that's okay. We'll suck that up, won't we? Have a great day. Bye.